Now, with the 06, it wasn't just the original gold version and the 2008 re-released black version, but they also did another freak of nature mixer in the mid to late 90s, shortly after the original 06 dropped out, and it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen for a DJ mixer ever. So, with the first video, a lot of people gave me a lot of great feedback. A lot of y'all seem to really enjoy it, and I thank y'all so much for checking it out, sharing it, commenting it, liking it, all that great stuff. Thank y'all so much. We really appreciate it. And a lot of y'all had questions or had comments or memories about other mixers that y'all really loved. I decided today's episode is going to be about the Vestax PMC-06 Pro. Now, if you've been DJing for as long as I have, which means you're old, then you're probably familiar with this mixer. This mixer came out around the mid to late 90s, 95, 96, 97-ish area, and this thing was so damn bizarre from the jump. I mean, nobody at the time had seen a mixer that looked this way. I mean, this is so incredibly slim, it's so stripped down, so really bare, and it's basically reminiscent of the Vestax 05, 2-band EQ, 2-channel mixer. This is a really stripped down mixer that a lot of turntablists really loved. Now, since this is a Vestax mixer, of course it comes with all the Vestax bells and whistles, which means a Vestax PCV fader in it. So not the sharpest cut in time, but again, like the last video that we talked about, the 07, you can use an aftermarket fader in here. You can get a PNG or Pro X fader, Inno fader, anything like that, and in here. But the main appeal of this mixer wasn't just the fact that you can use it for scratching, sure, but beat jugglers loved this thing because it was so slim and it made your turntables that much closer. You could move a little faster with them. So a lot of heavy jugglers in the 90s always flocked to this mixer. Now, that's not to say that only jugglers love the 06, because it wasn't just jugglers. I was never big into juggling, it was just never my cup of tea, but I was big into turntable bands, like turntablist bands, scratch bands, anything like that. And this mixer was great for that, because if you show up to a session with 4 or 5 other guys who have a turntable and a mixer each, and this is before laptops, this would be great because you didn't have to have that much space on a table for it. You could probably, well, I know we could, you could use a fly case for a turntable, put the turntable sideways, and then put the mixer at the edge of the turntable, have the turntable here, and it was so great, it didn't take up so much space. The 06 was so legendary. I mean, everybody who was into the 2-channel hip-hop, scratch, turntablist battle scene has seen one of these mixers at one point in time, if not probably owned one as well. Vestax, I mean, they hit the nail on the head with this one, so much so that they actually re-released this around 2008 in a new colorway. This is the Vestax PMC-06 Pro A in black, the 2008 re-release. I got lucky enough to buy one secondhand that's in phenomenal condition. And you're probably wondering, well, hey, what's so different about the re-release? It's black. That's literally it. It's just black. Different faceplate with this checkered board pattern down the center of it. Other than that, it's the exact same mixer. Now, with the 06, it wasn't just the original gold version and the 2008 re-released black version, but they also did another freak of nature mixer in the mid to late 90s, shortly after the original 06 dropped out. And it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen for a DJ mixer ever. And a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, he's talking about? That's right. I'm talking about the very bizarre Vestax PMC-06T. The 06T was even more bizarre and a lot thinner than the original 06, as you can very well see here. The idea behind it was to put your turntables even closer together so that the space between the turntables when juggling or scratching or whatever was now almost minimal. This design never really took off, but it was very cool to see that a company rolled the dice and took the risk on releasing a product that looked like this. And while I actually never used one in their day, I didn't get one until I bought this one used on eBay a couple of years ago, I couldn't imagine actually using this in real life. But to have in my collection to show off and to display later on in the future, Yeah, this fits right in. Even though these were incredibly popular, they still had a couple of setbacks on them. First things first, a lot of people weren't crazy about the fact that these were made in China, so the actual construction of them wasn't as top-notch as the equipment that Vestax released that was made in Japan. And that's kind of a stigma that sticks around today. Everything that comes out in China, especially when it comes to DJ equipment, always just kind of gets looked at as a cheaper build, lower quality stuff, and Japan is a lot better. That may be true, that may not be true, that's none of my business. I'm not here to get into that argument. Another big thing that a lot of people didn't like about these mixers was the fact that it was just a 2-band EQ, keeping with the tradition of the Vestax 05. It's just your highs and lows. It is what it is. I mean, most of these mixers, or pardon me, all of these mixers had your trim, your high, your low, and then your balance, your left-right balance, with the 06T being slightly different than that because it only has one balance for the master of the entire mixer. That's a weird thing. Now, another thing a lot of nerds didn't really like about the 06 was the classic Vestax fader click. I mean, just some people like it, some people don't. A lot of people seem to not like it. I was a big fan of the fader click, but that's just me. Now, the fact that these were made in China, plus the fact that it was just a 2-band EQ, and then the fader click on these mixers, that's not even the worst of it. The three things that most people didn't like about the 06 were, first of all, the headphone cue fader on it. The fader here on the front end that chooses your left deck, your right deck. Very fragile, very frail, and most people, whenever they're setting up this mixer, you learn the hard way at least once, do not put the mixer directly on its front because you are going to break that headphone selection fader. It just is what it is. It happens a lot. If you buy one of these used, there's a 50% chance it's already broken. I don't even know if that's a real statistic, but I'm going to stand by it because I said it like I mean it. The next thing a lot of people don't like, only RCA outs. No quarter-inch, no XLR, just RCA. A little strange, but I mean, I guess whenever you have a mixer this size, it is what it is. Lastly, the main thing that a lot of people didn't like was, now by 2018 standards, this had no headphone master cue selection, so I couldn't rehearse in my headphones at night or just scratch in my headphones at night. That was something that came out with the 07 and mixers that came after it, but this was before that master headphone selection or option in there. So, and then one last thing, just a bonus thing, no booth monitor out. So this wasn't really great for club environments. This would be more for battles, showcases, turntablist routines, and stuff like that. But the booth thing, I mean, when you get a mixer like the 06 and considering its size, you kind of gotta give and take on that one. So it is what it is. Now, when it comes to the 06s, when you're buying these used on Craigslist or eBay or Facebook or however you're getting them, I've seen the classic gold 06 run between $100 to $300, maybe a little bit more than $300. I've seen the re-release black 06 go between $200 and $400, depending on the condition for both of them, obviously. And then for some reason, the 06T, I've seen these go between like $200 and $400 and some change, $450-ish. I don't understand why, because it's such a freak of nature, but I have seen there are some mods out there to put aftermarket faders in them that weren't supposed to go in there. So, I mean, hey, if you have it and you like playing around with the freak of nature, a weird mixer, knock yourself out. Me personally, when it comes to the classic gold 06, I would not spend more than $200, $250, something like that. And that depends very exclusively on the condition, because you're not gonna get a lot of bonuses in this. There's no mixer flight case that was designed for the 06. Most mixer cases are universal for 10-inch mixers that are a lot bigger than the 06. So you're not gonna find a flight case. There's no deck savers for these things, especially the 06T. So, you know, you're gonna have to be very cautious with them. So that's one of the reasons why I won't spend a lot of money on a used 06. Just, that's my 2 cents on the subject. The one at the bottom here, I did actually spend a little bit more because it was a sealed 06, you know, never been used, still in the box, still has all the original paperwork. I mean, I spent a little bit more on that one, but that's also because it's, you know, it's a kind of a lucky find, so don't spend too much money on these, all right? So thanks so much for checking in with us today here at DJ City. Subscribe, follow, stay tuned right here to DJ City, and we will follow up with you on the next video here soon. 06T. So weird.